So one very cool feature about this section of the river is how the water, after years and years and years of the rising and falling and the flowing of this river, is if you look on those rocks and you see how they've been carved out by the water, that is like slowly weathered them into these beautiful kind of bowls. Very pretty. Okay, so we're here on these rocks now, and here is a this has probably happened from like a swirl pool effect of the water running through here. Sometimes maybe there'll be smaller rocks in here which are also round, and they kind of swirl in this hole and they carve out these big round kind of soup bowl shapes. But this is very pretty. You don't see this very often. Kind of nice little geological features up the area here. Great way to explain, you know, weathering and erosion processes. And if we just also look around us, this is a very pretty area to be in. But it does have a very strong hippo dung smell. It's like, I think the hippos, they live in this pond, and they've defecated a lot in it. Because if you look at all that floating matter, I think all that floating stuff on the top of the water here is actually hippo droppings. Okay, so here with these rocks there's a beautiful, what we call a hippo pool. It's a nice piece along the river where all this water is collected and the hippos like living here. Now if you look at all the floating stuff, that is actually hippo droppings. Okay, so hippos have been in this area for a very long time, and a lot of this stuff hasn't quite collected on the embankments, which is quite good for a river because it causes more reeds and grass to grow on the embankments, which keeps your rivers narrow and not widening up. Alright, so having hippos in these rivers is actually a good ecological animal to have here, because they keep your rivers nice and clean and flowing instead of being bogged up with lots of reeds and other plants like that. So if you have a look on the opposite side of the river, you'll notice these very big beautiful boulder over there, and just in front of it and on that boulder there's these white droppings. Now this pond is not only a good place for hippos to stay, but these white droppings are from storks which have been doing their fishing in these ponds. With all the hippo droppings here, it makes good food for the fish as well. Ooh. Hi. Kingfisher flew past. I don't know if we saw that on the camera. Yeah. So while being here and talking about having hippo pond and hippo droppings, there's actually hippos just down the river here, not too far, just a couple of 20-30 odd meters. So let's actually take a walk and actually see if we can't see the hippos bobbing up and down and maybe hear them honk or something. Right, let's go. So from the sound you can hear all the hippos breathing and making a little bit of noise. At least the two bodies of them. So there's actually a few of hippo here, maybe about 4 or 5 of them in this area. So the hippos have become a bit curious of us being here, and my first prediction of them being only 4 or 5 is a little wrong. There's quite a few here. Now that they're awake and they're aware that there's, you know, people watching them, they've all become a little bit inquisitive. As long as we stay up here on this higher embankment, we'll be okay. They find safety or feel very comfortable when they're in the water and not on the land. And there is a very small baby hippo here, which is maybe between the ages of 1 to 3 months, but closer to more 1 month old. Unfortunately, he can't float on the surface, so he has to periodically just bob up and down. So he'll bring his head up, take a breath of air, and he has to go back down. And interestingly enough, the young hippo, baby hippos, when they nurse, they don't nurse on their mothers on land, they actually nurse on their mothers in the water. So for a youngster, they've got quite a tough time to get food. They have to come up for a breath of air, hold their breath, go down, nurse on their mother, finish nursing, and come back up for air. There's the baby there. So before we disturb these hippos any further or make them feel a little uncomfortable, I think maybe we should start to make our way up the embankment and let them enjoy the rest of their snooze in the water here.